Hey everybody, it's Kevin filling in for Kristen in some ways on the point of care testing show today, the lab services and point of care testing show today. We got a great episode talking about filling your first CLIA application. I'll hit the reel, hit the video, and we'll get started. All right. So we do have a fantastic run through that Kristen has a video that I'm going to play for us here, really going through the first step, which can be a real difficult one. You're going from not doing point of care testing to doing it. And one of the things you need to be able to take on is filling out your CLIA form. And so Kristen has given us a really nice nugget into filling out those first few steps. And we'll get even more information after we watch this.
CMS form 116 on your own computer as you're watching me or listening to me go through this, and fill it out as you go so that you can go ahead and have this in the mail by the end of the day. So I'm going to let you do that. You can literally go to Google and type in CMS form 116, and then you'll be able to pull up the PDF. Okay, so let's get started. So if you're doing an initial application, that's exactly what you're going to select here at the top left is initial application. You do not need to put in a CLIA ID number on the right-hand side because you don't have one yet. So that just stays blank. Facility name would be your pharmacy or whatever your business name is, and your tax ID number associated with that pharmacy. Your email address, where you want any communications to go to. So make sure you put an email that you're actively checking. Same thing with these addresses, your facility address. And there's also a mailing billing address. So I always like to make you aware of that, because the facility address is like it says right here, it's the physical location of the laboratory. So whatever address you're putting here is the location that you're saying you are going to be doing the tests at. If you want to be a mobile facility, that's a little bit different, but still you want to go ahead and put your actual business location, your pharmacy location, in that facility address, because that's going to be your base, so to speak, if you want it to be a mobile unit. The mailing and billing address is important because, as it says here, this is where they're going to send that fee coupon or certificate. And so you want to make sure this is a place that you're actively getting mailed and that you are actually paying attention to that mail that's coming through, because this is how you're going to be notified. Now, some states are starting to notify you of approval or denial via email. So make sure that the information that you're putting in here is something that you are checking. And so what typically happens is, and I'll continue through this form, but I just want to let you know the process that typically happens is you fill out this form, you mail it to the designated address, and then you wait for your state to approve your application. Regardless of if they deny or approve the application, you're going to get some type of notification back. Typically it is via mail, but sometimes it can be via email. And so if it's denied, that doesn't mean it's really not that big of a problem, because they're going to tell you why you denied it and give you the opportunity to make any changes and resubmit. So that's not an issue. The other thing is that when you are approved, it comes as a certificate or this fee coupon that is mentioned. And so they're simply stating you've been approved, and now they want you to go ahead and pay the fee to be a CLIA waived laboratory. And so I state that because that doesn't mean that you are allowed to start testing quite yet. If the pandemic is still happening, then that once you pay that fee, you can start testing immediately. Once the public health emergency ends, then you have to wait for that, unless laws change, obviously. But generally speaking, if the public health emergency ends, you have to then wait for the CLIA certificate, the physical CLIA certificate, to arrive. And again, some states are starting to send those via email. So just make sure you're keeping your eye out for that. But you do not have to pay to submit this application. So that's the beautiful thing, is I'm always telling people, just take this 15 to 30 minutes and fill out your application and send it to your state so that they can possibly approve you. And if you're approved, which 80 to 85% of states don't have any additional restrictions, pharmacists can do this testing. And so just send it in. The worst that can happen is they deny you, and then you're not able to go ahead and expand into those testing services, or maybe that just means we need to get a little bit more creative. So further down here, you're going to see name of director, and that's going to typically be a pharmacist. That's our whole point, is that we want to be the lab director. So and again, majority of states allow pharmacists to be a lab director of a CLIA waived lab, and that's what we're filling out this form for. Lab director's phone number and your credentials. Obviously, RPH or PharmD, and then this form does not ask you to also submit a copy of your pharmacist license, but I always suggest that you put a copy of your pharmacist license in with this application whenever you mail it out. Then we're into section 2, and you're going to click certificate of waiver. There are multiple different type of testing facilities that you can apply to be, but that is for healthcare professionals outside of pharmacists. So what we're talking about today is getting this certificate of waiver in section 2. Then in section 3 here, if you're a pharmacy, you're obviously going to select line 20. You can also just take note, there's also a mobile laboratory that does come with a little bit of other, I will say loosely, requirements or hoops that you may or may not have to jump through. So what I usually tell people is if you're applying initially, mark that you're a pharmacy. You can also mark, if you needed to, or if you were doing this under a different type of business, you might want to mark number 15 as an independent laboratory. So that's another option. Or maybe you're doing it in collaboration with the physician office. So you might want to mark number 21 for the physician office. And I'm just
All right. So there is Kristen going through these first steps, and I'll bring myself, I guess, into view. Going through these first steps of the CLIA process and going through that CMS form. For more information about it and to get a hold of Kristen to learn more about point of care testing, how easy it is to really just get started, and how it can impact your community and your pharmacy setting. Kristen's going even more into mobile settings, which I'm personally quite interested in. Of how we can leverage these inside of our systems to truly benefit our patients. And to get more information, go ahead and head over to RPH Ally, join Kristen's channel for lab services and point of care testing, and join the conversation. Lots of folks out there are doing some wonderful things in the point of care testing world. We'd love to be able to pull them into kind of one area to talk about, the best and the next steps that they need to take take pharmacy and move us into that space to truly own that level of treatment and the test to treat. All right, guys, have a wonderful rest of the day. We'll talk to you soon.